Hello and welcome. I'm so excited for yet another epic Rebel Radio conversation with my new friend, Ashley. Ashley, welcome to the show. I'm so grateful that you're here today.
Hi, I'm so grateful to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, as always, we started off before we came live sharing a little bit of your numerology. And I'm really curious, what was your biggest takeaway from that?
So I took notes because I always take notes, but being creative and having a lot of stuff when she was reading through that, like they're really creative and they always have bright stuff, and literally behind me is a wall of stuff I've made or created.
Yeah.
So it definitely is spot on. And um, talking about like the not so positive side of like insecurity or doubts, like those definitely creep in. And I feel like for myself as an online entrepreneur and that's taking a lot of risk in different areas of my life, like that always creeps in.
Mhm.
But just facing it and being like, welcome to my table of love, and like let's move
Yeah.
forward because you're not going to go away, you're always going to be here, but here we go.
Oh, I love that. Welcome to my table of love. Oh, that
Yeah.
feels so good. I love that. So tell us a little bit about who Ashley is, who you're motivated to serve. What do you do? Who are you?
Yeah, so I've always been a teacher. I was a teacher for 9 years. I served middle school students to special education students. And I went through a situation in my life where I was in an abusive relationship. Things did not end well. It actually ended up with me after a physical altercation. Being arrested. And so then from there, I had a 6 month old baby girl, and I had lost my teaching license. So I was like, okay, moving forward, like, what do I want to do? Like, this is my chance to really rewrite and recreate what I want to be, because I knew
Mm.
teaching was never going to be an option going back. So it was like, okay, moving forward. So I had my laptop and a camera, and I started to take pictures for like websites and Instagram in my parents' basement because I had to move back home and like sell my house, all that stuff. So I really wrote, and I'm still rebuilding. It was about 3 years ago now that happened.
Mhm.
But I started taking pictures, started a photography business, then moved into graphic design. And then,
Shocking.
so, yeah, surprise. And then also moved into some website design, started working with women who wanted to build businesses, and I would get them started, get them kicked off, and then after their website was done, they're like, okay, well, now what? I'm like, well, now we do the business side of things. So really stepping into like a mentor position to help them find clients and do different things. So during that, I also decided to create my own course. So I created a course of how to start a business. I've done a couple Canva courses, a couple website building courses, things like that. And then I now help single moms start businesses who have I've just recently started collaborating with a local nonprofit that helps single moms who have just left an abusive or toxic
Mm.
situation. And it's just been such a journey, but at the same time, like such a healing journey. And I've been so blessed to like be able to move forward and now start helping other women move forward. So and build something that they truly love, and really flipping the script on that you don't have to have 2 to 3 jobs as a single mom. You can do something that you love and still have freedom and flexibility to be with your kids and take care of all of that. So
Oh,
that's me.
amen. Amen.
Yeah.
What a story. And really, it's like you've just reinvented yourself. I think that's so powerful. So, with this new version of you that you're inventing, what do you desire most in life?
Oh my gosh. Like, oh, that gives me goosebumps, like thinking
Yeah.
about it. But like, at the heart of like everything that I do, like if my friends are like, hey, this is what's going on, like, hey, I'm like, okay, well, what do you need help with? Like, that's always my supportive, like, okay, well, how are we gonna fix it? How are we going to move forward? So really just helping people and serving people is at the heart of what I want to do for the rest of my life. In any way I can do that, if it's painting them something or if it's like just serving them and loving on people. So that's always been the core of who I am, but I think it's really neat now. I think teachers sometimes can be the most boxed in mindset individuals because they're like, I'm a teacher, that's all that I can do. And it took me a while, but teaching's everywhere. Even like Oprah Winfrey and like different newscasters are like, well, I'm a teacher because I interview different people and people learn. So learning how to be that in myself, but not in a classroom, has been like probably the most growth. Like,
Right? Especially when you don't have a lesson plan to follow.
yeah.
I think it's funny.
I don't have to worry about having one. Yeah.
Right. I think that's funny because I'm actually currently teaching at the local college. So
oh my gosh, that's
following a lesson plan for the first time. I'm like, well, I don't know what's happening here.
And I like, even like with my nonprofit, like I created all the curriculum, but I'm like, yeah, it's all right. But like, if we need to do something else, like we can, like whatever they need. That. So yeah.
So good. So at the beginning of the show, you said this table of love, right? And that really brought me to this concept of unity consciousness, because I feel like that's kind of what unity is inviting all of the pieces of you to the table of love. Yeah. So I'm curious, what does unity consciousness mean to you?
So I think for me, it's accepting. When I tell people my story, one of the most common reactions I get is, oh, I'm so sorry you went through that. And I always respond with, like, I'm not. Like, it was really tough. It was awful. It took me years to get to a good space, like mindset wise, to overcome the things or to reinvent myself and start changing who I was so that I could move forward. But for me, it's that piece of me now can help serve other people even better, to connect with people who need help the most and help them move forward. So I wouldn't be who I am with the things if those things didn't happen to me.
Yes.
So it's really, and I've had anxiety probably my entire life, like just really recently through all of everything, like really honed in on it. And I know it's never going to go away. It's something I'm not going to fix, but it's something that like, okay, it's here now. What do I do? Or, so, and welcoming all of the feelings, I learned about the feelings wheel in a lot of my counseling that I had to go to. And I think I struggled as my younger self to really connect with my true feelings. And so my counselor would always be like, okay, look at your feelings and be like, what are you truly feeling? Yeah. Instead of just feeling mad, like, are you frustrated or are you, what are you truly feeling? So I think we need to really connect with that. It's okay to feel those things. It's okay to be a whole person. It's okay to take the day to feel those things and then pick it back up the next day, because we're all human, and it makes us who we are, and it makes us, I truly believe we're meant to connect with everybody, and we're meant for connection, and that's one way that we can connect with people is through our feelings. So
absolutely. I think it's the only way that we can connect with people is through our emotions. I love that you brought up the feeling wheel. That's a tool that I use in our program that we move out into the world as well, in Mastering the Brain Game. So as soon as you said that, I was like, wait, what?
I know. And I wish so many more people knew about it, because
we're on it.
Because I even use it with my clients, like when we're talking about business and they're talking about like their ideal client. And I'm like, okay, well, what are we moving them from, like on the feelings wheel? Like, are they feeling stuck? Are they feeling discouraged? Are they feeling frustrated in their businesses? And where do we want to get them? So, I mean, it's so helpful in so many different ways. And then I also use it in my personal life.
Yeah, I actually have it as my desktop on my
Oh my
computer.
gosh, yeah. And I've seen them on pillows recently too. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need that in my living room for when I'm having a tough conversation. Okay, wait, hold on.
I look at
am.
my pillow. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Now I want to go shopping and find the feeling wheel pillow. It's so good. So, I mean, other than using the feeling wheel, I'm curious, what other rituals or habits do you have in place that keep you devoted to unity consciousness?
For me, I lean onto my faith. I am a Christian, and like I do truly lean into that daily. I journal daily. I listen to different podcasts. For me, that's how I stay grounded and truly like in what I'm doing. And but then there's other things that I do. Like I try to move my body for at least 30 minutes a day. I get dressed and I put on the earrings and I put on I was just talking to my business coach because I have like my fancy tennis shoes, and she was getting after me. She was like, you just need to wear them. Like some women wear like heels and things. I'm like, I have like my metallic Air Jordans and like my floral Air Jordans. And she was like, you need to wear those. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to get dirty. But then like at the same time, like it's even those little things that can move us in and shift our mood, so that we feel most aligned with our true authentic self. So
Oh, yes.
yeah.
I love that so much. And I remember when I first started as an entrepreneur, I thought it was great that I could just go to work in my pajamas and not do my makeup or not brush my hair. And I realized in that I was getting into a slump, because it's not about dressing for all the other people. It's about dressing for you and setting yourself up for success. And I think that's what's so important about having whatever morning routine is for you, to set yourself up for the day so that you're intentional about how you move through your experience.
Yeah, totally. And I think even with some of my clients, I've worked through like setting up. That's one of the first things I do, no matter what, if they're coming to me for personal things or for business. And I'm like, do you have a morning routine?
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people misconstrue it, that they have to have this like lengthy, like self-loving, like hour-long candlelit bath for like morning routine. And I'm like, no, like it could literally be you get up, you get a cup of coffee, you say an affirmation, or you do like 5 pages of reading and you write down 5 things you're great, like find 2 to 3 things tops, and then go on about your day. Like it doesn't have to be an hour-long situation. But if you keep those promises to yourself and you start the day off in a strong little routine that you do daily, your day is going to be better. And I also find that my clients, when they're like, well, I'm feeling kind of blah, the ones I talk to every single week, they're they're like, I feel blah this week. And I'm like, so are we doing our morning routine? They're like, no, I fell off. And I'm like, well, okay.
Exactly.
That's fine. We're doing that, and I'll be checking in. So to make sure that you're doing that. And then, so yeah, those are definitely, so a morning routine, making sure I move my body. It doesn't have to be something ultra strenuous. Like it could be just walking around the neighborhood. Sometimes that's all I have the energy for. And so, but I think doing those things and then finding what grounds you, if that's meditation, if that's yoga, if that's faith, whatever that is, then find those things that work for you.
I love that. And I love the concept, like keep it simple. It doesn't need to be this big involved thing. A cup of coffee and some journaling. It's that simple. It's really just about being intentional about how you want to experience your day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So good. So how do you see your business evolving as humanity expands into unity consciousness and we begin to understand our emotions deeper? How do you see your business evolving with that?
So I have some pretty big visions of how I would love to help single moms. So with the program that we're doing now, I'm absolutely excited we're doing like a micro loan for single moms. So at the end, they would receive either the materials to start a business or just the tools that they would need. So moving forward, I think that one of my number one struggles when I started my business, being a newly single mom, just lost my job, I struggled with childcare and being able to actually get stuff done and connect on calls with clients and do something like this. It was not possible. Like, she's 3, almost 4, like she is downstairs watching YouTube, but like this would not have been possible like even a year ago, maybe even 6 months ago. So I would absolutely love to have a space, a co-working space for moms, that also has a daycare connected to it, so you could come in and like drop the mom guilt because you got to take your kids daycare. Know that they're just right next door. If something happens, you can do a podcast and then leave, and then take your kid. Like, you use it how you want, but then being able to pour into other people and being able to host workshops or anything from like yoga and calligraphy to here's how you start a business, or so just pulling together women and empowering them so that they feel connected to other people, and also so that they just have a higher vibe for themselves as well. So
I love that so much. And imagine what that would do for a single mom trying to start a business, and just having that space where they can just drop their kid off for an hour, go do a podcast, and then go grab your kid again. Like, it just makes it so simple. I love that.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that dream with us.
Yeah.
It's good. So, how do you think that we let go of the old patterns and the old habits and invite in like a completely new way of creating impact?
This is such a great question. I number one, you have to be super gentle with yourself. You're not going to wake up one day and be like, oh, this is the person I manifested. No, it takes fucking hard, long work. Day-to-day work, reminding yourself, because I still have days where I wake up and I'm like, oh, like, I don't want to do this, or like, I can't do this, or like, I don't know why I'm doing whatever. And just reminding like stopping myself in my tracks, like, something I say to myself often is like, bitch, I don't have time for this, because I don't have time for the spiral that's going to follow this imposter syndrome, whatever. Like, yes, I acknowledge it. It's there. Great. But I'm going to move forward because that's what my purpose is, and people are counting on me to fulfill my purpose. So I think number one is being gentle with yourself. And then it's implementing, like we talked about before, pieces that you want to be. So start with a vision board on Pinterest, whatever you want to do. Make a wallpaper for your phone of like what you want to do, and start showing up as that person. It's not going to happen overnight. And I really have a hard time with life coaches, business coaches, the online space, making it seem like these transformations are overnight or in a week. Yeah.
It's magical.
Here's my roadmap to how I made 10,000 in a month, and like, you can do it too. I'm like, bullshit. Like, you could give me that same thing and it's not going to happen. I could follow it step by step because you're not me. And I think realizing too, like going back to the question, like realizing that we have our own things that we are really great at, and stepping into those things and delegating. If you are a business for entrepreneur, delegating those other things that you're not great at. Bookkeeping, hate it. Delegate that. Like, contracts, hate it, delegate it. So I think it's being gentle with yourself, setting up the small routines of what you want to be or who you want to start showing up as, and just start doing it. And then one day you're going to wake up and you'll be like, holy shit, like, I made it. Like, it's happening. I remember back to before, journaling has always been a huge thing for me. And some of them are prayers, some of them are just jotting down thoughts, it's all over the place, like my brain. But so I jot down one day, I was like, I just want to live like a colorful, sparkly, like serving others life. And then I redid my branding like a couple of months ago, and I chose like rainbow-ish colors, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Like, and so I think also it's writing stuff down. Like, write down what you want, and you can look back at it in like a couple years or a couple, and you will find that it actually comes true if you write it down. And So write down what you want. The other thing, like that goes with the nonprofit and collaborating with them, I wrote down 2 years ago in a journal, like I want to help financially struggling single moms create their own business and like create a nonprofit. And luckily the universe nudged me, God nudged me into certain directions where I started volunteering with the nonprofit, and then they were like, do you have any ideas? And I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. And they're like, okay, great. We have a grant that we're going to apply for and we want to use your idea. And I was like, what?
Yes, I love that.
So,
You didn't even
like,
have to create a nonprofit.
write it down. Like, write what you want down. Even if it seems like the most out of reach thing, like you don't know how it's going to happen, write it down, look at it every once in a while. But as soon as that happened and I was having that meeting, like with the director, I just got in my car and I started crying because I was like, oh my gosh, like
It happened.
who would have known that like it would have happened in like the years of like, here you go.
Right? And
yeah.
What a beautiful demonstration of it's not your job to know how.
Yes.
You had no idea how to create a nonprofit and how to make this happen. And the universe goes, here, you don't even have to create it. I'll just make it for you. And then you can do what you really want to do and help single moms. Like, that's so powerful. I love that. So the other question that we love to talk about here at Rebel Radio is one of wealth. And wealth is a word that feels very subjective. Everybody has a different definition for it. So I am curious, what does wealth mean to you?
I am not a money-driven person. If I have enough to cover my bills and take care of my daughter and do those things, wealth to me is the relationships that I have. It's the things I can create. It's the impact I can make on other people. It's serving other people, and it's inspiring other people to be their best self. I feel like that is wealth to me. And if someone sends me a message like, hey, you inspired me today because you painted whatever, I'm like, I'm so glad that I inspired you to paint. Like, I hope I make make some cool shit and send a picture to me of like what it is. Cause that's what makes me happy. And that's what keeps me driven. And that's what I would consider success, is when I help other people.
I love that. I love that. And I think that's so important to recognize that wealth is all encompassing and money is just a side effect of your wealth.
Right. And I always like to believe that like more money in the hands of good people creates more good things. So
yes,
like if I have extra, like last night we were in the drive-thru and I bought an extra cheeseburger to take home to feed my dog. But there was a guy in the drive-thru and he was like, hey, could you buy me a sandwich? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Here, I bought this one extra anyways. Mm-hmm. So I think it's also like the more we give, the more we get. And the more that the more generous we are, the more the universe reacts to that as well. So yeah.
Yeah, more money in the hands of good people. Yes, I agree with that. Oh my gosh, I could talk to you all day long. I have loved this conversation. Thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
But as always, we end the show with one last question. Yeah. What do you dream of for the world?
More laughter, people being kind to people, and to be colorful and sparkly.
Colorful and sparkly. Oh, I love it so much. Thank you, Ashley.